I'm super pumped, and I know what's coming, you know. So why don't you start and say a few words about yourself and your company, and we dive into what this is all about.
Sounds good. Thank you. Thank you, Lars, Rich, for having me here. It's a pleasure to be here and share a little bit about my story and what we're doing. So I'm Esther. I am the CEO of Pops. Pops is one of the leading digital entertainment companies in Southeast Asia. We do everything from music, production, AI, R&D, to creator commerce. And how do we blend and mix all of that together to drive revenue and create, big stars as well as support little creators and influencers across the region. We operate across Vietnam, Thailand, Indonesia, Japan. So we're quite across the whole Asia marketplace.
Yeah. And can you share a bit of the size of the company and how long have you been doing this?
Been doing this for 17 years now. So it's been a really long journey. So 17 years here in Southeast Asia. We have about 230 people across the region and in Japan. So it's been quite the journey, but still so much to do.
Yeah, I mean, I've been around for a very long time on e-commerce, and I just learned about social commerce. So maybe we can lay the ground a bit before we dive into AI and influencer business. It's like, what has changed over the last years when you look at e-commerce from your perspective?
I like to put it this way. So maybe my parents' age, they were shopping via home shopping, right, on the television. Our generation, or my generation, is about e-commerce, traditionally through, you log into a website, you pick your product and you put it in your basket, and then it gets delivered to you. But today's generation is very different. They are all about social commerce, following their favorite or even impulse influencers or creators and KOLs. They see a product, they say, oh, that's interesting, and then they put it in their shopping cart. They're very price sensitive. They'll buy a bag of chips, a bag of Lay's on TikTok and wait a few days or even a day to get their bag of chips. I would never do that. I would never wait for a bag of chips if I really want a bag of chips, right? So this is kind of the mentality. It's a very young demographic. Average age in Asia is around 30, 32. And so for them, it's all about what is my influencer, what is my KOL, key opinion leader, saying, what are they promoting? They're more aspirational, looking at what other people are doing and how can I adopt that for myself.
Yeah. Is it correct to say that, traditional e-commerce is more need-based and the new way of shopping is more like impulse?
Impulse, yes, absolutely. And I think you had a session before, shoppertainment. I mean, that really fits into what, AI influencers can help with. And so how commerce and entertainment has come and married. So it's no longer just about, especially for marketers, it's no longer just about talking about the brand. It's about how does talking about that brand cut through the funnel all the way to the shopping cart and getting them to buy.
So, and the evolvement over time now, over the last, 36 or 36 months, is like when you used to have a brand picking KOLs to market their products, and now what we see is that KOLs themselves come up with their own products and actually create their, because they use their followership, right, to actually market their own products.
That's right. You're seeing more about influencers' power of picking the product. They're picking, not just they're picking their own product or seeing what works or what's trending and then finding out, okay, I can create my own brand and push my own brand. But also, today I feel like talking about chips, or I feel like talking about foundation, or I feel like, and this is a product I want to talk about. So the power now has shifted not from the brand, but actually to the influencer or the creator.
So how does Pops Worldwide come into this, into this business? So what's your business model? What are the services you're providing?
So originally, we still do a lot with brands. So we work with brands like Pepsi, Unilever, all of the FMCGs, all of the makeup, cosmetic brands. And we do a lot of influencer marketing, as you said. And we also serve a lot of the creators and the KOLs and helping them, monetize and grow their business. And so we try to figure out how to, marry the two. But what we've seen is the challenges on both sides, right? Brands want something that's more, influencer or KOL or creator that they can control, or that they can control at least the messaging, or can make sure that there's no scandals, or they're speaking out of line. So we have a lot of that. And we see creators who say, well, I don't want to be controlled. I want to talk how I want, when I want, because that leads to their authenticity, right? So there's a mismatch. And so when we saw that mismatch, we saw there's a white space, and how do we marry the two and create AI influencers to kind of resolve the brand problem?
Should we have a look what this looks like?
So, can we have the first one?
So
who can guess who's AI and who's real? Anybody? No? Wait. Thank you. Anybody can guess? No? So the two ladies in the back are real, and the guy in the front is AI. Next one. So she's AI out of Indonesia, right? So one of our brands, who's a fashion designer, or they sell fashion and accessories, so they were commissioned us to create a whole line of videos. And so this is one of the videos that Mila created, and then at the bottom of her video, there's a link of where they can buy, right? And it's very natural and integrated into her story.
Pernah nggak sih kalian habis turun MRT Haji Nawi terus jadi lapar? Nah, cobain kesini deh. Warung Bali Pak Gede. Tempat ini definisi if you know aja. Mereka mempunyai specialty nasi ayam campur khas Bali dan ada beberapa menu lainnya. Untuk hari ini, aku mau cobain nasi campur spesial dari mereka.
So this is one of our other influencers or AI influencers out of Indonesia. This is how we marry real life story, real life experiences through food and lifestyle. You've all kind of probably ventured out into Ho Chi Minh City or Bangkok and seen street food. And so what's best for authenticity is introducing an AI influencer into street food.
And even see him eating, right? So.
Yeah, if you can continue play.
Pernah nggak sih kalian habis turun MRT Haji?
Sẽ là em kem nền màu hồng phiên bản ẩm mịn. Màu mình mua sẽ là màu B01 ha. Test em nói xem sao nha. Chất kem của em này hãng quảng cáo là có rất là nhiều độ ẩm, nên là khi test lên da mình sẽ tạo cho da mình một cái lớp nền căng bóng tự nhiên mà mỏng nhẹ nè. Bây giờ mình sẽ test lên mặt thử ha. Cảm giác nó rất là nhẹ luôn nha. Mình sẽ lấy cái bông mút này để tán lên da nha.
So, that's a sample of our AI influencers experiencing from dance to accessories to food and to makeup.
So, couple of questions here. It's like authenticity is one of the key attributes you have to have with an influencer, like, and building trust and relationship. So, like, are the followers aware that these are not real persons, or?
Yeah, I mean, we're not here to trick our fans or the consumers, right? So we do put in the description, this is an AI influencer. But at the end of the day, to be honest, kids are on their phone, right? They're on their phone, they're on TikTok or YouTube Shorts, and they're just swiping. And they stop swiping when they're interested in the content. Is that content creative? Is that content interesting? Is it something that I would want to watch, right? So I don't think they really care. And they're inboxing, they're messaging, they're flirting with our influencers, and so.
Yeah, so that's a very baby boomer or Gen X question I'm posing here,
So.
right? Okay, yeah, right. So, who's coming up with the personas, with the profile? Like, who is setting up? Is it also AI generated, or is that you and you giving a hint, or are you starting somewhere, or how you do it?
No, so I don't think that AI influencers will wipe out the whole creative community. No way. Actually, I think it will enhance the creativity of creators. Because at the end of the day, what's important is the storytelling behind these visual influencers, right? You still have to come up with stories, trending stories, things that's interesting to people like you and I. So they need to still be there to put out the script, the topics and everything. Yes, AI can help. You can type into AI and you come out with a list of topics. But at the end of the day, you still need that personal touch to make it real, right? So I still believe that the personal touch behind, we have a creative team behind to sit there and work with our brands or work with our marketing team to understand what are Gen Zs or what are young people really still interested in. We look at data, what to see and integrate that in as well. So there's a whole formula and marketing team behind it.
Okay. When you look at, because you said you're working with Pepsi and all the big brands, it's like, is there already like a preference to like certain types of like AI like influencers versus than the traditional ones?
I think each brand is different. Some brands want someone who's a lot more normal looking. Some want more that are, really beautiful and exotic. So we get a mix of all. But at the end of the day, they want someone who looks like the people who are actually watching the content, because then that's the authenticity of the creators, right? In Japan, it's a little different, where they like more animation style, right? They like what they call VTubers, anime characters. But in Southeast Asia, they're more prone to real-life looking people, like our characters up here.
Yeah. I mean, I think Lars is covering the topic of singularity later on. Do you see a development like 5 years down the road where this, AI influencer is just doing their stuff completely on their own? I don't know, reacting to interactions and reshaping the content by themselves because they see this one is not working, this one is working?
Eventually, but I still think there needs to be that human touch. Yes, I think AI can determine, okay, if the consumer is going this path, then I will perform or talk about this product in a certain way. So yes, I believe that AI can alter the messaging to the consumer or to the fans. But I think there still needs to be some people behind it. And it's to monitor, to regulate. I'm still a little conservative in the sense that we can't just let it go crazy. Because it's a very powerful tool. Mm-hmm. So there does need to be regulation or responsible people or marketers behind.
Yeah, I mean, resource-wise, it's 24/7, right? Like that can create actually content. You've been in the business for 17 years, so this is a complete game changer for also how you run your company, no?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, we create more content. We create. It's much more efficient. Sometimes even more creative. But what is important is the localization, and that's what AI cannot do, really, right? AI can talk about a product in generality, but can you localize it to the local market? And that's where the magic happens, right? So when you look at, say, the third video or even the last video, it's all localized for the local market. And I think that's where you still need that human touch.
Yeah, maybe we can dive into the Japan market or Japanese market, because I think that's pretty similar to Europe. I told you before that I feel like Europe is the museum of the world. So aging population and not very innovative. And now we're looking at this social commerce trend and also the live shopping trend. And we have shopping TV back in Europe, but you know that the age bracket is 60 plus, and I see a lot of European faces here. So I was wondering, because there's a lot of discussion going on if this is really picking up, like social commerce, AI influencers, etc. But you know, you have now the Southeast Asian market, you have the Japanese market. So what are the differences there? What is your take on it?
I would say, so Japan is very similar to more mature markets, and it's an older country, right? So they're still stuck behind the home shopping network. So if you're ever in Tokyo and you're sitting in the hotel room, you turn on the TV, there are channels after channels for home shopping network, and they're running 24/7, the same way. But here in Southeast Asia, if you turn on any TV, it's actually social, it's a smart TV where you're turning on your YouTube or you're turning on your TikTok. So all of that has already first migrated to the digital channels. And when you have digital channels, then it opens the door to all the creators, all the KOLs, whether they're talking about the product, they're integrating it into their video, into their content, and it makes it so easy to do, watching the content and actually consuming the content.
What do you think is on the one hand the barrier for growth, and what is the accelerator for growth here in this area?
So it's a very crowded space. It's, you're just bombarded with content, and to capture a young person's attention to actually watch something for a minute is really hard, because their thumb is just working nonstop, up, right? So it's really hard to capture that attention span to get that purchase. So I think for, in a very crowded environment and a very short attention span, that is the biggest challenge.
And I mean, I haven't had the opportunity to really actually enjoy like the Vietnamese, day-to-day life. But my experience from Shanghai, when you ride the tube there, is like everybody is in live streams, and even riders on their bike to deliver some goods are constantly at the traffic light watching. So it's and we heard before, it's all about entertainment, and it's and what you said is it's all about eyeballs. So for me, it's like the question is how you can actually stay ahead of the game, and now we have this AI solution. So what is the secret sauce to be relevant even over a longer period of time?
I think for us, and I think that's why Pops is still so vibrant and still very strong entertainment company, is because we really understand, one, what the consumers and how the consumers and what they're watching, as well as the platform. Just uploading it onto the platforms like a YouTube or a TikTok is not enough. You have to actually understand the algorithm, the behind the scenes, to ensure that there is some boost to it, there is magic happening to the video. So it's not just about uploading it and hope and wait and see if someone runs or comes across your video. So there is magic in the sense that I have data on what you are watching, because you've come across one of my videos, and now that you've come across one of my videos, I can actually push more content to you. I know, it's scary, but that's how it is. And we are constantly looking at the data, understanding what people are consuming, what they're searching for, right? How long they're consuming, whether it's 1 second to 10 seconds. 10 seconds is a big win these days.
Yeah, I know. That's why I'm not on TikTok. So, what kind of platform you see as the winning platform? Like, TikTok Shop, like also like with more commerce applications or more seamless integrations, or? When I start a business now as an influencer, okay, which platform would you recommend?
It depends. If you're an influencer, I would answer it differently. What kind of content are you creating?
Email, I think.
What kind of content are you creating? What is your objective? Are you, really just engaged in creating a community? Are you trying to sell something? Are you just trying to get fame really quickly? So because how you create or what you create on TikTok is different from what you create on YouTube or on Spotify or on Facebook or Instagram. So all of them are very different. Their algorithm are all very different, and their formats are also very different. So I would really, it's a whole strategy behind it of, what you want to do, what you want to create, who you want to, go after. But this is messaging not just for influencers or creators. It's the same messaging for brands. It's the same messaging for marketers. How do you want to market to your fans and your consumers, and across which platform, across which medium? But how do I not have to create so much content for all of them? Because it takes time. And it's not you do it one, like TVC, where you create one 30-second, TVC and I'm done. It's, I have to create on a daily basis because consistency is really important. And that's where AI virtual influencers help with consistency, longevity, adapting to trends really quickly, adapting to all the content and everything that's happening. You can A/B test with them across the different platforms. So, this is I think the key benefit for AI influencers.
Yeah, and also that you actually can interact with your audience like 24/7, right?
Yeah, I think it depends. If you want them to live stream all the time, or you're just posting up videos. So I think that's also another strategy that you as a marketer or a brand will need to decide. But that takes a lot of time, a lot of effort.
When you look at the corporate accounts, I think one barrier is also that that what they keep saying is that you have to have a personality to actually, stand for the brand, right? Like, and what you see, I mean, at least like back in Europe, you see sometimes like an apprentice, a young person, capturing a channel for a well-known brand, and then it's taking off. But and then you have the CEO sometimes, and see and the content just sucks, right? So, I mean, and now this is a solution to having like a personality, your own personality for a brand as well, right?
Absolutely. I mean, we're talking to some major brands who want to use virtual influencers, create their own ambassador, create their their ideal person to not just represent and to be that brand ambassador, and not for the short term, but for the long term. And how do they inject this AI ambassador in through not just for awareness, but also down the line through different campaigns, online and offline, actually, as well as through commerce. So when we've seen brands use the AI influencers just for brand awareness, and they didn't think through the entire marketing flow, but these AI influencers or can actually be used in every aspect of their business if they really think about it and think things through.
Okay, and if we're talking about the bright side of AI influencers, but is there also a downside, like regulations, risk, or like, I don't know, governments intervening, saying like you cannot use this? I mean, like I know it's a very German perspective, but back home everything is regulated anyway. But I mean, like from your perspective, are there any areas where we have to be aware of certain developments, or?
I would say technology is probably one of the biggest. It is technology, but then AI is moving so quickly. So once you think you've cracked it and created, your great AI, a new technology will come in and kind of alter the way you produce your content or your influencer. I think that's the biggest risk. So that your team or who you're working with needs to be on top of it all the time, because this field is changing so fast, so quickly. I think from a regulation standpoint, because the technology is moving so fast, I don't think regulation knows what to do. I mean, you see that all around the world. The US, for example, they try, they think about it, but they can't. It's just moving too fast. So I would say that the tech itself is the biggest challenge.
So any predictions for the future are really impossible to make right at the moment, or just, trying to ride the wave, or?
I think that every marketer or brand needs to have a blended strategy. I think brands who don't integrate AI influencers will be left behind, or they cannot keep up with those, because this really cuts down everything else, and they can use that resources for other experiments or any other campaigns or things to do, right, to push their product or service. Mm-hmm. So I think it's really important that there's a blended strategy for using both AI influencers, real creators, and KOLs. And it's great if you can mix the two. It's really innovative, like the first one, right? You have an AI influencer, and then you have, real people participating.
Yeah, okay. So I would like to actually open up the discussion. I don't know, I actually have a bit lost track of time, but I think maybe there are one or two questions from the audience as well. Micro's coming.
Okay, thank you. I've worked with a lot of influencers in the past, also with many followers, and also for working for brands like L'Oreal and so on. So my question is a little bit what Sven already mentioned. If I take an AI influencer representing my brand, how can I protect it legally? Yeah, because I do not want that somebody copy it or have a face with a similar or even the same, yeah, because it's my brand ambassador. So how can I protect it? Is there a legal framework protecting my rights? First question, and the second is, what is the experience in the KPIs? So in terms of conversion, in terms of how does an AI influencer compares to the real ones?
So in terms of copyright protection or trademark or protection of your IP, because we too consider our virtual influencers as IP. And very similarly to Disney, who protects all of their Disney princesses, right? Or Winnie the Pooh, or all of those characters. Similarly, you can protect the image of your influencers, because at the end of the day, they are images that you've created. Because all these people, we put in a prompt, we actually make up their look on our own, right? We're not saying, okay, I'm gonna create Sven. I could, but then I don't think you'd be so happy with an AI influencer roaming around
we're talking
Vietnam.
royalties here, then I'm open.
Right. So just like a Disney princess that can be copyrighted or trademarked, you can also do that with this. In terms of engagement, so I would say it really depends on influencer per influencer, or AI per AI. Because at the end of the day, it's the storytelling and how you engage and the consistency of the content that is set out. So Zoe has the best, engagement because she's so consistent with her content and the theme of her content. So she sees about, I think, don't quote me, I think 3.8 in terms of, click-throughs and all of that. So she's probably the best and more innovative or popular amongst the four.
So I'm also playing around a lot with common video AIs that exist right now to also test what the possibilities are. And so the first videos I can pretty easily see, and not see, but believe that it's that.
So the question, like for the audience in the back, maybe just like if the last model was actually using products. So the question was like, do they train their own language models for like in this direction, or how they do it?
Yeah, I'm not the tech person, so I'm just here to talk about it. But we do have a whole team that spent I would say over a year, really getting our models to this level. And I would say Zoe is the most advanced. So she's the one who is much more interactive. Before she couldn't speak and she didn't speak, but now you can see, she's talking. Before she would just do some moves. So she's the one who's most advanced out of all of them. Yes.
Yeah. You see, I'm happy that I can use ChatGPT to speed up my LinkedIn game, and this is a completely new level. I think Udo had a question.
My question is, the keys here actually when payment becomes on-chain. So the AI influencer is able to get already paid on-chain. So as we see, there are rumors for it that they are using Doge or other cryptocurrency. So how would it work out for you also as an agency when an AI influencer to hire other influencers and get paid and get rewards for what he's doing? So he has access to a wallet and has a funding, a budget, and is fully autonomous in this way.
Yeah, I think the question was like, if you imagine like an AI influencer being fully autonomous and then actually having access to a wallet and being on chain and get the payment themselves and then just walk away from you.
I hope not. No, I don't think so. I think because at the end of the day, we're in full control of our AI, right? And that corporate account or that wallet still sits in my pocket. So I don't think that it will be that. At least I hope it doesn't.
When is the singularity track with Lars? Is that tomorrow or is that? Does anyone know? Yeah, tomorrow. All right. So maybe that might be interesting because 20 years? No, that's going to be faster, I think. But yeah, but right now they are your employees, right? So to speak.
Our artists or our creators, right? Yeah. That they're my employees that I don't pay then.
Okay, good. One more or Rich?
What's the barrier to entry for someone else to compete?
I would say it takes a lot of time. One, it takes a lot of time to really train up your model and get your head around the tech. Number two, if you can do that, then you got to create story and persona and understanding who you're targeting and creating that information or creating that person, right? The third, and I think where the tough one and the barrier to entry is the marketing of these influencers, right? Because it's almost like building up a star, like a new artist or a new creator or a new movie star, whoever, right? You have to really start from ground zero. Start with 1 follower, then 2 and 3. So it takes time. And unless you have a network or expertise in creating stars, it's hard.
Yeah, and I can imagine that your background and your pedigree from the music industry
Right.
and your connection network with brands helps, of course, doing that because it's just, for me, it's just another, maybe it's too harsh, but it's just another product line, right?
Yes.
But you're building on top of all of your experience as a company and the market.
That's right. That's right.
Oliver?
Yeah, one more question from my side. Sven, you mentioned that I don't know how popular this is here in Vietnam, but the live shopping aspect to it. The live shopping is nowadays done by humans because you actually interact with reactions you get from during the stream or stuff like that. Are you already experimenting that with AI? Are people because everything what we see right now is like pre-produced and it's like really content that you just send out and hope it's successful. When like the interactivity of this new technique would be interesting.
You're right. Live streaming is really popular in Southeast Asia, any market in Southeast Asia. We did test with live, 24-hour live streaming with an AI, and we sold products, and it was really random, but I'm not sure it has the same impact as a real live seller, because yes, it's the answering questions right away when people are chatting in, that interaction, that engagement. So you don't get that with an AI virtual influencer. But I'm hoping one day we can get there. We are testing, we are trying to push that envelope.
Yeah. All right, one final one. My name is Sven.
Yeah, maybe to follow up for this, because so what we did for longevity, we made a podcast about it, and what you think about interactive podcasts, because so you would not need a face behind it, so I think it's more easy to create, right? Yeah, what do you think about interactive, because then, let's say I get my own podcast, yes, I can talk with two AIs about the topic, and let's say, for example, longevity, they are selling some food supplements or something.
Sorry, so if I can summarize the question, the longevity of the...
Yeah, so like make a personalized podcast, yeah, where you can talk with AIs about the topic, then the AI is like talking about food supplements and selling the product this way.
Yeah, I think that's already happening. I think the only challenge with voice, and we do 150,000 hours of dubbing and localization, mostly from Japanese or Western content to. And so we really looked into how AI can help and replace some of the characters and the dubbing. But what's hard is getting the person, the AI to actually have that emotion, to have that, action or that connection. And it's all about voice and that emotion behind it to keep that fan or that follower to continue to listen. So, and I don't think that AI voice is there yet. They're working on it. I know a lot of companies are really trying hard. We have AI music that we create. I mean, and we use AI music, right? But it doesn't have that longevity, emotional, ups and downs in the tones to really engage with the audience long enough. So you still have that. I think you still need that visual image to connect.
But can't you just take like voices of people and just give it to the AI that it sound more emotional?
So you mean like the visual is an AI and then the voice is a real person?
Yeah, so for podcasts, you don't need to face or something, but I mean, voice is a bit more emotional, just the real person, the AI trying to speak in this way.
Absolutely. I mean, that's what Japan is doing with VTubers, right? When you look at there are hundreds of VTubers, they're all animation looking, but in the back, it's actually voice actors, right? And in Japan, voice actors are even bigger stars than actual real actors. So yeah, absolutely.
All right, so I think time's up, right? Yes, okay. So, I just loved it. Thank you so much.
Thank
Lots
you.
of insights.
Thank you.
And actually, chapeau, you created one hell of a company, and you're ahead of the curve. After 70 years, I think that's really impressive.
I don't know. I think we're trying to keep up with the curve.
Yeah, exactly. Thank you very much. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you.